All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining Nivitas today for a live webinar. What is AI automation and how can it benefit your business? My name's Alyssa, and I'll be your host for today's session. Our speaker is Alan Hester, president of Nivitas. Before we start, I'm just going to go over some quick guidelines. If you have any trouble with the audio or video, just use the chat window on the side of the control panel, and we'll be able to sort that out for you. You can also use the question window, a separate window, to share your questions related directly to the webinar as well. Feel free to raise those questions whenever you feel like it. If we don't have time to address them at the end of the session, we'll be sure to get back to you via email. We'll also send out a recording of this session, and the same recording will be available on our website for download. And now I'll go ahead and hand it over to our speaker today, Alan.
Thanks, Alyssa. Good to have you joining us today, everyone. And as Alyssa said, we're going to be talking about AI automation. And in the interest of full disclosure up front, AI automation, I'm not sure it's a real term that is used a whole lot, but it's a combination of a bunch of, a couple of different things that a lot of people are talking about in different ways. So we thought we would spend some time today talking about how they're related to each other and what it all should mean to you. So I think we're going to take this from the standpoint of novices. So I apologize if any of you out there already have a PhD in artificial intelligence or something like this. Some of what we talk about might be a little bit beneath you, but we want to make sure that everyone is starting from the same base. So when we start here, let's just talk a little bit about AI or artificial intelligence and what that really is. So I know that this term gets tossed around all the time, but what does it really mean? You see it more and more in the news, and a lot of businesses are rolling out mandates saying, yes, we have to be using AI, or we have to be using more AI, or AI is so important to us and it maybe is going to revolutionize this or that in our industry. But there are a lot of other terms too that are interrelated, and I want to just take a few minutes to kind of tease that out. So AI or artificial intelligence is kind of the broad, all-encompassing term, which is talking about a bunch of different, more specific technologies that have been created to give computers the ability to think more like humans do, right? So it gives us the ability to use technology and computers to take the place for a bunch of different things that were only possible with people, right? And so there are different algorithms and technologies, and it's all revolving around data for the most part that can help you with all kinds of different things, decision making and predicting what's going to come based on what has happened in the past. And like I said, there are a lot of other technologies that are kind of under the umbrella of AI. And just to name a few of them so that you can start trying to figure out, what these terms mean or should mean to you and whether or not they're even important to you at all. You probably have heard the term machine learning, or sometimes called ML. You might have heard this term computer vision, or CV, and natural language processing, or NLP. And then you might have heard another term called deep learning. So these are all more specific technologies within the general umbrella of artificial intelligence. So let me just kind of take just a couple of seconds to describe what role each of these plays. Okay, so machine learning is basically using existing data to form thoughts and decisions about what could or should happen for a new data set as compared to the old data set. So an example that we use all the time in our demos is when you have a new person that is applying for a loan, right? And that person is applying for the loan and they submit all kinds of data about their background and about their job and their credit history and all these pieces of information that are used to make a judgment about whether or not someone is qualified to be able to get a loan for a certain amount of money, which is basically making a judgment for whether or not they're going to repay the loan, right? So you can take data from loans that have already happened in the past, and you can look at all of that application data, and then because this is past data that's historical, you can see, okay, of these different profiles of people that were given loans, how many of them have defaulted on that loan? And then based on that, you can make judgments about a new data set coming in. So this is just one specific example, but you can kind of understand from that what that means for other data sets as well. And that's really what machine learning is about. So teaching a machine how to make judgments based on data. And the more data you have, the more accurate those judgments can be. And obviously, nothing is perfect. There's always going to be outliers here and there. But what we have found in many different use cases is that that these kind of judgments can be quite reliable, especially if you have a good amount of data to start with. The other one that you might already be aware of, even if you haven't heard the term before, is computer vision. And computer vision is when the machine computer is using a picture to derive some more meaningful data out of that picture. So a great example of this is often when you are doing something on your phone or your mobile device and they are trying to verify you are who you say you are, sometimes they may have you take a picture of your ID or even broadcast your live face for a few minutes, or take just a snapshot with your camera that's built into your phone as a way of verifying you are who you say you are, because then they'll take that picture and they'll compare that to what's on your license or some other picture ID that already exists in a file somewhere, right? So that's a form of computer vision. And there are also some other forms of computer vision that are more related to textual data than pictures. So like when you have a, let's say you have a bill or something that was not, you don't have a scanner, no one uses scanners anymore, but you take a picture of it with your phone and you want to be able to extract some text out of that image for some reason, right? So that is computer vision technology that is involved in that process as well. So anytime you're trying to extract some structured data or text data, numbers out of a picture, that's also a form of computer vision. And then there's natural language processing, which is more about how the language works and being able to infer conclusions about pages, paragraphs, sentences, words, based on how the language itself works. And so this can work with both spoken, like audio type files or live audio or video feeds, as well as printed information. So being able to make a judgment for what a word is based on the context that it's shown within, right? Being able to figure out, okay, is this word a noun or is it a verb? And if so, does it make sense in this particular context? So, this is kind of looking at the data from a different perspective to make judgments about what is right or accurate. So you can start to see that these things can work together. So things like computer vision and natural language processing can work very well together when you're looking at use cases that involve pulling structured data out of unstructured data, because you have one piece of it, the computer vision, that's helping you to extract the data. And then you have the natural language processing piece, which is helping you to verify and make sense of it. So I know this is a lot to start off with, but I just wanted to kind of lay a little bit of a groundwork behind, what is artificial intelligence and what are some of these other related technologies that you might hear of when people are talking about AI. The one other piece that I didn't really say much about is deep learning. And deep learning is really just an added variation of machine learning where the computer is really using neural networks. So the computer is working with the data in a very similar way to how our brains as humans process data using a neural network. And so we'll leave that for our purposes. We don't really need to know anything more about that right now, but that's kind of how deep learning fits into the picture. And you can find with deep learning, you can get even more accurate results based on machine learning implementations that use deep learning. And again, this is based on tons of data. So the more data you can throw at it, the more reliable the output will be. So now let's just move on from that, and let's start to look at how AI is used in technology around you and how that could be relevant to your companies and your lives. So if you think about just how you are interacting with businesses around you as a consumer in your life, you probably see examples of this all the time, where companies are using different forms of AI for customer service or for sales and marketing purposes, where you might be getting chat messages or text messages from someone that initially you think that's a real person, but then you come to find out that that's really what they call a chat bot, which is an artificial intelligence technology that's using natural language processing in order to conduct a meaningful conversation with you. And so a lot of times that's around customer service, maybe support for a product, those kinds of things. The chatbots are able to make a lot of easy judgments on their own, and then they're also able to escalate that to real people as needed if the problem is more complicated. And so I think a lot of businesses are starting to use these technologies, and I think they're getting better and better over time. I know that everyone has a little bit different feeling about these things. Some people really like it, some people don't like it that much. I think I like it if it's good. If it's bad, though, it can be really bad. So there are a lot of other applications for artificial intelligence that maybe you don't run into as commonly, that are still out there and can be really useful as you think about how you might use artificial intelligence, especially as it relates to automation for your business. So one common way is for marketing activities, analyzing customer data, being able to target customers with personalized campaigns. And, this is kind of, you see this with um, Google ads all the time, right? Where you went to a website because you saw a news story about something, and so it sounded interesting. So you went to their website and you read a couple of articles on it, and then all of a sudden, for the next week, you're going to be getting different ads for that product or related products or that company, right? So that's kind of a more rudimentary form of artificial intelligence, but those are the kinds of things that can be done in terms of being able to do more accurate targeting for people who might be interested in your products and services. And also things like doing data entry, or data extraction, very important activity that often is taking a huge amount of employee time and can also be quite unreliable because there's a lot of errors often introduced into the process when you get people that are just working with pages and pages of spreadsheets or numbers in any form where they're copying and pasting or transposing from one document to another, maybe from hard copy into a machine. All of those kinds of tasks that we often ask people to do because we need to get the data into a place where we can easily report on it, show the people who are running the business what the state of the business is or the state of that business process is. So this is critical in terms of getting together all of the data that you're looking for. But for the most part, historically, this has been a manual process. But using AI, it's easy to extract that data, verify it, put it all into the same database so that it could be reported on holistically and give you the kinds of insights into your business that you haven't had before. So there's a lot of other different applications that could vary based on the kind of business that you're in. As I said, though, a lot of it revolves around data. And the interesting thing is that this is valid no matter what kind of business you're in, what industry you're in, or how big your company is. There's going to be advantages for leveraging this kind of technology to do automation for you, because it's not just about finding a way to do your work without employees, right? I think companies have moved on from that kind of thinking, and now we're working in a world now where people are distributed, they're working from home, they don't easily have the ability to collaborate with each other, their attention is being split and divided between a lot of different things. So we want to be able to let them focus on the things that are most important to them and take all the stupid, repetitive, mundane things off of their plate so that those things can still be done because they're a necessary part of the business, but they don't have to be done by those people. And this way, it frees up the people's time, and it also makes it so that those tasks can be done in a much faster and error-free way. So when we look at the advantages of AI automation, we're calling it, which is just combining the AI technologies with automation technologies for being able to take these repetitive, mundane tasks and automate them reliably over time. We could see, I have 5 things listed here. There's probably at least 5 more that you could easily come up with off the top of your head. But increased efficiency, being able to reduce labor costs and improving the accuracy, we've already talked about that. The improved customer service, everyone's expectations are really high as customers today for how the companies that they're dealing with are going to interact with them. And AI can create a much better customer experience when it's done right, because people can feel like companies are really listening to them, right? And they can feel like they're not, their time is not being wasted as much, and they're quickly and accurately getting to the answers that they need or the solutions that they need. Also, better decision making overall, just all kinds of different informed decisions can be made more quickly, more reliably by doing the kinds of enhanced data analysis that you can do using artificial intelligence. The next one is kind of an interesting one. You know, security is a big issue for many companies. It depends a lot on the kind of industry that you're in, whether you're dealing with regulations and compliance issues, but being able to detect potential security threats and respond quickly to those so that your data can be protected or your customers' data can be protected or both. You know, those are the kinds of things that you can make much better with the use of artificial intelligence. And then finally, probably the most logical and important one of all is streamlined processes. When we talk about automation at Nividus, we're not talking about task automation. When you hear a lot of RPA specific companies talk about automation and even about the use of artificial intelligence, they're often talking about specific tasks that are discrete tasks that can be offloaded to a bot in order to have the job done automatically. And with the Nividus platform, you can do that. But the added thing that we bring to the table by the combination of technologies we have in our platform is you can do that with both the bots, the RPA bots, as well as the artificial intelligence technologies, plus the orchestration technology of business process management or workflow tools that are built into it that allow you to do complete automation of end-to-end business processes that have both steps that are done by bots and completely automated, as well as steps that are done by humans, right? Because there are certain things that you want your people to be doing and they have to do for whatever reason. And so we recognize that, and you don't have to build any sort of workarounds for that. Using our platform, you can automate those entire processes from end to end. So when you're doing those kinds of automations, if you're looking at end-to-end automation, I would encourage you to dig deep into the tools that you're using to make sure that you're leveraging the technology available to you to the furthest extent possible. Because, as I said, a lot of the RPA vendors you might talk to would give you a picture that makes it seem more complicated than it has to be, where their tool can only do so much and then it has to be combined with something else to go that next mile. But there are better solutions out there for that. So let me just, before, I want to talk a little bit about some case studies, customer success stories, but before we get into that, I just wanted to take a minute to point out one of the things that we do at Nividus to make this more attractive for companies, especially those that are interested in leveraging this kind of AI automation from end to end, but maybe you've never really done that before, and so it seems scary. It seems like it could be risky. Maybe it's expensive. Maybe it's going to take a long time. I've heard horror stories about other IT projects at other companies that take forever and they waste a lot of money, and at the end of the day, you don't really get anything of value with it. So we started doing this thing that we call Quick Start, which is designed specifically to combat that kind of thinking, so that as a business, if you're interested in giving this kind of technology a try, we make it easy for you to do that with no risk at all. So the way this Quick Start works is we will build a project for you that will meet your needs of your particular process you're trying to automate. We will get it up and running in production, not a prototype, not just some kind of fancy demo, but a working product up and running in production. And you won't have any obligation to pay for anything until after it's been delivered into production and you verify that you see the ROI in that essentially you get to say, okay, this is what Nivitas is telling me it will cost for the automation of this solution. Are we seeing results that at least offset that? And when you make that decision, and only then, we will invoice you. If you decide for whatever reason that this isn't working for us, we're not seeing the kind of returns that we were looking for, then you can walk away and there's no obligation. And you probably are saying, well, that sounds like that's some kind of marketing ploy and they can't really do that. But if you're thinking that, I would encourage you to reach out to us because we do really do that. So let's just quickly go through a few case studies here so that you could see some examples of how we have used AI automation in some other companies, and it has made a significant impact. So this first one's for an insurance company, and this was a situation where there was a manual process required to scrutinize these new business proposals. A lot of employees were involved in this process. It was fairly high volume, and it was able to be automated using a combination of the AI technologies that we talked about, and it resulted in a 50% reduction in turnaround time, over 2 million documents processed per month, and a 90% reduction in human errors. So I'm kind of going through these quickly because I know we're running out of time. So if you have any questions about these, certainly bring it up to us, and we're happy to go through these with you in more detail in a personalized session. There was another insurance company that was working on financial statements, and I would say all aspects of finance are a pretty important application for this AI automation. You might hear this term IDP, or intelligent document processing. A lot of times that's related to financial documents, both on the accounts payable and the accounts receivable side. We do have a full process out of the box that's built for doing accounts payable that makes it very easy for companies to get up and running with the solution, and it takes very little training up front to do that, and very little ongoing maintenance as well. So here was a reports download and image processing for an e-commerce company that helped a lot of other companies to deal with their e-commerce efforts. This was a case where a bunch of reports were created manually by getting data together. As just going back to what I said before, a lot of these applications are related to data. So if you have parts of your company where you feel like data is locked away, living in islands, you're not alone. There's many companies like that where you have good data, but you can't really get it combined with the other data so that it can give you the kind of reports that you're looking for to give you real insights into running your business. If you're in that kind of situation, this is the kind of technology that's perfect for you. You can easily leverage this technology to unlock that data and to put it all together in a way that you could report on it holistically. So I'm going to be cognizant of your time here, and I won't go through this last one in any detail. But like I said, if you have any questions about any of these case studies or anything else, or our Quick Start program, certainly reach out to us. But now let me just turn it over to Alyssa, and she will give you a quick summary about Nivitas so that you can feel confident if you reach out to us. We have the experience and the skills and the product set necessary to help you with this AI automation journey that you might be on.
All right, thank you so much, Alan. So yeah, we are just going to close this session out today with a little bit about the Nivitas, or a little bit more about the Nivitas platform. So we were founded in 2011. Obviously from everything that Alan said, we aim to help businesses work at their peak efficiency with our intelligent automation platform. We offer vertical solutions to help empower companies of all industries. And one of the biggest differentiators of our platform is that RPA, AI, and BPM capabilities are natively developed within the platform. This key differentiator specifically has enabled us to help our customers meet their end-to-end automation needs. We're also recognized for our work by leading global industry analysts such as Gartner, Forrester, and the Everest Group. So thanks again, Alan, for a great session. I hope all of the attendees in here found the session insightful. We really, really appreciate everyone taking the time to join us today. I know we're up against the clock here, but if anyone has any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact the information you see on the screen here. And as a reminder, we'll send out a recording of this session. We have more interesting webinars lined up, and you can visit our website, nividus.com, for any updates. Thanks, everyone, and have a great afternoon.